Welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. So I'm finished with the planter boxes, the Versailles planter boxes. Put a little link up here in case you want to look at those. And we're now back to the Bedrail CNC machine. I want to make a couple changes to this to enable me to take another crack at the ArchTop Guitar. So the changes that I'm going to make are take the little motor that's here on top of the Z-axis. I have a second motor, same size, and I'm going to put one motor at this end and one motor at this end, replacing this bigger motor. Take this bigger motor and put it on top of the Z-axis. So I have a larger motor controlling the Z-axis and two motors now controlling the Y-axis. By putting a motor up at that end, I have a bit of a problem in terms of tensioning the belt. Right now the tensioner is built into that bracket, but if I'm going to replace it with a motor, I'm not going to have the tensioning ability up at that end that I currently have. So I needed a new tensioning mechanism to replace this simple little bracket that I've got in here. So here's my tensioning mechanism. This is what I'm going to try. I 3D printed this little geared wheel. It kind of forms a little ratchet. So the belt will come along here and sit in here, lock in here, kind of the same way that the belt locks into this mechanism here. So imagine that twisted 90 degrees. So the belt comes along here, goes into this around a bolt that will kind of keep it from slipping out, back out here to pinch itself onto its to pinch itself so that it won't slip. And then I can release this ratchet a little bit, rotate this gear, and lock it back in place. Now that won't spin. So simple little ratcheting mechanism. And I have put two holes in here to accommodate a little tool that I can use to apply some pressure to it. So I'm going to put this little gizmo on and see if in fact it works. So a little locking gear and pull are now in place. Belt is tensioned. Next thing I'm going to do is replace some of the wiring. So I have been using Cat 5 or Cat 6 rather wires to get to the stepper motors, and I've doubled up the wires so that two physical wires will carry the current to one of these wires. I am a little concerned that that wire is a little flimsy and not the right gauge, and as a result it can't carry the current that is possibly or probably needed for these motors. So I'm replacing it with some 24 gauge wire. I went and picked up a bunch of this yesterday, and I'm going to be running one strand for each of the strands of the stepper motors. So this is a 24 gauge wire that I've got here. So I know that I'm getting up to the current that can be supported by these motors. So today is a big case of creating the wiring necessary for these. What I'll be doing is twisting these pairs and then twisting two pairs together. So we'll go through that exercise. So I've got a little eye hook mounted in my drill. Tied a little knot in the end of this wire. Just slipping that through. And now we'll just run the drill and put a bunch of twists in this wire. And I'm getting it to about, let me show you how close I am here. So I'm just getting it twisted like so. So I'll do the same thing with the other wire, and then we'll twist them together. The other wire, though, of course, is going to be twisted in the opposite direction. And then when I twist them together, to have a little less tendency to tangle up. probably go a little bit tighter on this. They're the same length. Now I can put them together, and we'll twist them together in the opposite direction. And there we have the twisted pair, twisted. So I have now wired up one of the stepper motors, this large stepper motor on the Z-axis. What I have done is taken that wire and I've twisted it. I'll show you what I did there in just a second. And I've attached a little airplane connector to the wires. So now these can be attached and detached from the stepper and held in securely. So of course, helps when you see what you're doing. There we are. That slips in, screws on tight, and won't come disconnected. And of course, now goes in a little bracket that I've made, screwed onto the sled, and the stepper motor is attached. So this Z-axis works just fine. Alrighty, just a quick summary of changes that have been made. We now have a motor, one of the smaller stepper motors on that end of the Y-axis, the second one on this end of the Y-axis, and I have found by putting those two motors in place, I can move that Y-axis much faster than I was able to move it before. Not that I necessarily want to do that, but it's the power is there. I put the larger stepper motor on the Z-axis, and that seems to be working well. And again, I can move that axis faster than I could with the smaller motor. Have put in a heavier wire, airplane connectors, little brackets, so that it's a little bit more secure connection. So I've got airplane connectors on the three steppers that were adjusted. I didn't change the wiring on the stepper motors controlling the X-axis. I'll get to that later. Enough was enough to get me started. Now I have a new blank ready for the guitar top. This is a lovely piece of cedar. In fact, what I've got here is some book-matched cedar. So two pieces came off the same log, consecutive cuts, and the knots that you can see that represent kind of the book matching. As it turns out, those knots are actually going to be cut out, so we won't even see them. Maybe a little bit here, a little bit there on the base of the guitar, but those middle ones should be gone, and that top one won't even be close. So I'm really happy with this material. Let's just hope I don't mess it up. So I'm going to call this a video, just a little short one, talking about the upgrades to the machine and getting ready for this next attack on a guitar blank. So yeah, wish me luck. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.